I do not know how people sit on a spin bike for an hour-long class. My killing me, and I've only been on here for like 6 or 7 minutes. This is ridiculous, you know? Having this thin piece of seat right up between my legs like that, that is the most horrible feeling in the world. All right, now, strength training, cardiovascular training, CrossFit. We got all these different types of weightlifting. Which one should you choose? When should you choose it? How do you know which one to pick? Do they all work the same? So on and so forth. This is a very complicated, long question. It can be very, very difficult to answer. Now, the main thing that you want to think about is, what is your primary goal? Now, if your primary goal is to get stronger, you're going to have to lift weights. If your primary goal is to put on muscle, you're going to have to lift weights. If your primary goal is to lose body fat, you are going to have to lift more weights than you want, less weights than you expect, and your diet had better be on point. All of this is null and void if we don't count on diet being what it should be for your specific goals. So let's just, for this rest of this conversation, assume that your diet is where it should already be, okay? So that being said, if your diet is already where you're gonna have to eat different ways to achieve different results. I didn't make the rules, I didn't design the human species. That debate is running on for now. However, we can do different things to affect the body in different ways, and people can build themselves differently. Casey, flatten out your back. Flatten out your back. Thank you. All right. Now, you have heavy lifters, okay? People who are in there going crazy with the loads, doing 5 reps or less. Sometimes they go up as high as 7 reps. Not a lot of volume, but goddamn, they are lifting really heavy. They're really focusing on that load. Now, they're gonna be primarily focusing on building muscle and improving the connectivity of their central nervous system for maximum load, okay? They might not specifically put on a lot of muscle. It would again depend on their diet specifically. Now, if your goal is to lose body fat and you're only weightlifting, sorry friend, you might need to increase your cardiovascular production rates. If you decrease the break times between your sets and reps, while you're doing your lifts, you're gonna increase your cardiovascular system, cardiovascular output. Now when that happens, your load is gonna drop, okay? You can't continue to lift as heavy if you're decreasing your break times, which is not a problem, it's not a bad thing. If your frame is sorely lacking muscle, and depending on how old you are and how long you've neglected it, it's decreased a lot. We've got a client right now who has lost very little weight, but she has lost an amazing amount of inches because her body did not have enough muscle on the frame when she started. So our major plan of attack was, first we gotta put on some muscle. Now, it's a bit hard to swallow on that because you're not seeing the scale drop. People need to see that scale drop in order to feel like they're accomplishing something, in order to feel like they're motivated. So, how do we combat that? We take photos and we do measurements. If you do what you know is right, progress will come. Now, as long as she's losing inches while we're building muscle, then we've hit sort of a sweet spot. It means that we are building that muscle, we are putting on weight while we're taking body fat off, okay? Her inches and sizes are coming down. And at some point, and usually it takes about a year sometimes, maybe more, she'll come up to a nice homeostasis set point. Now, nobody I know is ever satisfied with where they're at physically. It's really rare for somebody to go, no, I actually like where I'm at. We train professional bodybuilders, we train power lifters. Everybody's always a little unsatisfied with where they're at. So if you just accept that for what it is, then you know that every time you reach a new level, there's a new hurdle, there's a new level to get to. Now in this case, of this individual, she's going against her peer groups. Now her peer groups, because it's 2021, they're all going crazy with their diets. They love their diets with their keto this and their carb cycling that and the intermittent fasting this and everything else. But this is a loser's errand. This is a false positive. You're gonna get progress for 8, 12, maybe 16 weeks, but you're gonna get tired, you're gonna burn out, and you never put that muscle on. So when you did lose the weight, you lost that weight, but you're not gonna keep it off. How many times have you ended up dieting in the early part of a new year, only to be 5 or 10 pounds heavier at the end of the same year? This is a fool's errand. We've got to change the process. The process should be, I don't need to be 40, 50 pounds heavier or 40, 50 pounds lighter at the end of the year. While that would be nice, I only need to be about 15 to 20 pounds lighter at the end of the year. If I can hold it off, if I can lose that weight and keep it off for the 1 full year, then the start of the next year I can do it again, and I'll keep that weight off again. And I'll keep doing that. Now, how much muscle you build determines how many calories you're going to use at rest. So if I have more muscle, it takes less effort doing nothing to just burn calories. This is where you want to be. This is the kind of position you want to be in. Again, it takes a little bit of time, but you're not going to fluctuate. You're not going to yo-yo. If your diet goes off a little bit, you get back on. It's not that hard to manage. It's that slow, steady, consistent progress that we're looking for. Now, let's say you've hit that plateau. You just can't break through it. You're lifting weights like crazy. This is the other category. Some of the people that we have in the gym lift all the time. They've gotten really strong. They really focus on building muscle, putting on that size, making every day in the weight room count. And they've been eating like it too, because mass moves mass. And the bigger I get, the more weights I can push. And in the weight room, sometimes that's what you want to do. You want to push more weights than your peer groups and your friends around you. Now, that being said, you can also disguise a lot of your progress by dirty eating. Some people have referred it to dirty bulking. And this ends up being a problem as well, because even though we built that muscle and we're lifting really heavy, our cardiovascular endurance and energy has dropped some. And we've got to bring that back up. Our goal in the new year is to start losing some body fat. You can be really strong, extremely muscular, and overweight. Happens all the time. Now, those kinds of people need to really focus on trying to break their workouts up more to get more cardio in. And they can do it one of two ways. They can either put their cardio in on their strength training days, which diminishes either how much time they get to strength train or how much load they're lifting, or they can cut out a lifting day altogether and just focus on cardio one day and their weightlifting on a different day. Both methods work, and it's a personality type that determines which one is best suited for the individual. We want to help our community out as best we can. So if you've got an at-home gym, if you just want to start working out at home, we are offering free strategy sessions for anybody who lives in the Federal Way, Northeast Tacoma, 5 surrounding areas at Temple Fitness. If you email us at info@templefitnessfw.com, we will get with you in about 24 to 48 hours to set up that strategy session so you can have a plan that's best suited for you, whether you work out here or not. We want the Federal Way, Northeast Tacoma community to be the most in shape, the healthiest, and the happiest out of any of the King County, Western Washington